This is the Gerry Callahan Show.
Well, what a day. What a day it is. There's never a dull day in Donald Trump's America. Here's what we got going on today. We have Kash Patel being grilled as we speak in front of the Senate. I have confidence in Kash. I think he's going to do a great job. He's going to push back. He's going to fight because that's what he does. We have Luigi Mangione making an appearance in court as his lawyers try to get the state charges thrown out. Ooh, big still my heart. Luigi's in court today. We might get to see him. He's so dreamy. And we also have Tyler Robinson making his first appearance in court. He is supposedly not cooperating, but I don't think it matters since they have text messages from Tyler Robinson in his Discord chat saying, "It was me. It was me. I did it. I'm sorry," he says to his friends. So I'm pretty sure the case is coming together against Tyler Robinson and, of course, his friends. Yes, there's going to be more indictments, more arrests. There were many people, at least 7, who knew what he was going to do and didn't do anything about it. He had help, I'm convinced. And I think the Justice Department, Kash Patel, Dan Bongino had made it clear that the investigation is just beginning and there will be more people held accountable for the murder of Charlie Kirk. Meanwhile, the Democrats have a tough job. The media has a tough job. They are doing what they always do. They're playing the both sides game. The what about that? What about him? And it's just not working. Here's the problem they have. There is nothing comparable on their side to Charlie Kirk being assassinated for the crime of holding debates, dialogues, for the crime of speaking his mind on a college campus. Don't forget, this guy, Tyler Robinson, I can't get past this. He could have gone there. He could have stood in line. Charlie Kirk put the people who disagreed with him in the front of the line when he held these events at college campuses. Tyler Robinson could have gone there. He could have waited in line. He could have gone to the mic. He would have had 2 minutes to state his case. He could have attacked Charlie Kirk with words over his position on transgender issues. That's what upset him. He could have followed Charlie Kirk into a coffee shop or to parking lot and shot him. He waited until Charlie Kirk was asked about the trans issue, and Charlie was responding to a question, and he shot him in the neck. That is trans violence. This is trans terrorism. He and his boyfriend, Lance Twiggs, they hated Charlie Kirk because Charlie Kirk didn't accept their radical lifestyle, because Charlie Kirk pushed back. He told the truth. He said there were two sexes. He said a man can't get pregnant. A man can't be a woman. He stated the truth. And I think the reason so many of us feel like this is a watershed moment, a seminal moment in the culture, is that we are seeing the response to people telling the truth. 5 years ago, if you told the truth, if you said a man can't be a woman, if you said Rachel Levine is a man, if you said men can't get pregnant, men don't belong in women's sports, men don't belong in women's locker rooms, you could get fired. You could get suspended from all social media platforms. That was the case 5 years ago. Now you're free to speak your mind. Now you can say Rachel Levine's a man, thanks to Elon Musk and others. You can speak the truth. And the difference today from 5 years ago, 4, 5, 6 years ago, is the people who are being canceled today, who are being called out, exposed on social media, they're lying. They're lying to you. They're telling you Charlie Kirk is a Nazi. Charlie Kirk is a fascist. Charlie Kirk is a racist. The woman, The people who are losing their jobs today, they're lying to you. The people who lost their jobs 5 years ago were telling the truth. That's the difference. In 2021, you didn't get canceled. You didn't get banned for lying. You didn't get banned for saying Dr. Fauci's a Nazi. You got banned for saying Dr. Fauci is a liar. You didn't get banned for saying Rachel Levine's a Nazi. You got banned for saying Rachel Levine is a man. You got banned. You got harassed. You got kicked off social media for telling the truth. Today, you get banned. You don't get banned. You get fired for lying. You get fired for celebrating the death of a man who just wanted to have dialogue. He wasn't a Nazi. He wasn't a fascist. He wasn't a racist. He wasn't even a bomb tosser. He wasn't even a guy who attacked people personally. He was a Christian. He was a brilliant man. He was a biblical scholar or a biblical expert, and he leaned on his faith every day. And they hated him for it. They wanted him dead. That's the difference. You can't play this game anymore. Yesterday, Donald Trump, as always, was taking questions in the White House, and the subject turned toward Charlie Kirk's assassination. And the woman asking the question said, "What about Gabby Gifford? What about Melissa Hortman?" She's the Democrat legislator in the House Speaker in Minnesota who was assassinated by a crazy Democrat, a Tim Walz appointee. Gabby Gifford was 20 years ago. What about Paul Pelosi? Paul Pelosi was attacked by a deranged, homeless, illegal immigrant. There is no comp here. There is no comparison. They don't have it. They are desperate to make it a both sides issue, but it's not. One side assassinated a leader, a political force. Charlie Kirk they wanted to shut him out. They wanted to stop him. There's no comparison to Paul Pelosi or Gabby Giffords or Melissa Hortman. There just isn't. And you sound like a fool. You sound like you're running cover for Democrats in this situation when you ask about someone who was shot 20 years ago. We're talking about the climate right now. We're talking about the number of Democrats who are not just okay with political violence, but are celebrating it, encouraging it, who are joyful because their political opponent is dead. Trump handled this well. Here he is. Again, he was asked about Paul Pelosi, Melissa Hortman, and Gabby Giffords, as if there's any comparison to what just happened to Charlie Kirk. Here's Trump.
I didn't say it's on one side, but I say the radical left causes tremendous violence, and they seem to do it in a bigger way. But the radical left really is caused a lot of problems for this country. I really think they hate our country.
You're going to hear from, you will hear, you're already hearing from many Democrats, many in the mainstream media, who will tell you it's a problem on both sides. We have to tamp down the rhetoric. Well, one side is turning to violence. The other side is resorting to rhetoric, to words. That's what Charlie Kirk did. He used words. He said things. And today they will say, as we mentioned yesterday, Ilhan Omar said, "Oh yeah, but Charlie Kirk downplayed the George Floyd story, the George Floyd ODing in police custody while resisting arrest, or Charlie Kirk didn't support Juneteenth." Do you listen to yourself? Do you hear what you're saying? You're talking about a man who was murdered in cold blood in front of his family, in front of thousands of people on camera. And you're mentioning, you're bringing up his words, his viewpoint, his opinion. That's madness. That is justifying murder. You're trying to explain it by saying he said things. Charlie Kirk said things that you don't like. And man, was it a revealing moment when we saw all these people, hundreds, thousands of people saying, good, I'm glad he's dead. There's a poll out. YouGov just came out with a poll on the number of people who believe violence is justified, the number of people who believe killing your political opponent is justified. And it is incredible. 24% who say they are very liberal say that it is okay to kill your political opponents. 16% of liberals say that. 24% who are very liberal say that. 4% of conservatives. So 6 times more very liberal people say it's justified to kill your political opponent than conservatives. This is not a both sides issue. This is a one side. That Trump is right. The radical left, Antifa, the trans mobs, they're the ones resorting to violence. They're the ones justifying violence. They're the ones celebrating violence. There would be nothing like this. I don't even know who the comp for the Democrats would be, or for the left. Would it be, I don't know, Charlie Kirk wasn't even a legislator. He wasn't even a politician. He was just a man who led a movement, who affected an election, who was tireless, who went out there every day and made the case for conservatives, and they killed him. Whoever the comp would be on the left, if they were shot, I could say this, there'd be no or very little celebration from the right. I can't imagine anybody who would celebrate, who would rejoice, who would post how great it is to see your political opponent die. Now we have these calls for unity. And I know I'm not the first to say it. I know it is. How do you unify with those 24%? That's 1 in 4 very liberal people. 1 in 4 who say it's okay to kill your political opponent. Hell, it's probably more than that. Those are just the ones who want to admit it. How do you unify with someone who wants you dead? You can't. There's no unity. There's no unifying. Yeah, this is remarkable. You want to know why they lie? Do you want to know why they went on TV and went online and said Tyler Robinson was a conservative, was a right-winger, was a MAGA guy? You heard it for a day until we got more evidence that he was from Utah, that his family was Christian. You want to know why they lie? Because it works. Here's a poll. As far as you know, is the person who shot Charlie Kirk a Democrat and Republican? Neither or not sure. 21% said Democrat. 24% said Republican. All right, I got a question. Forget where he was raised, forget his family, forget everything. He just killed Charlie Kirk. Why would anyone think he's a Republican? Why would anybody think the man who assassinated this conservative icon is a Republican? Because they were told that online, because they were told that on MSNBC. That's why they were lied to. That is why they lie, because it works. Because there are people out there, gullible, vulnerable, stupid people who believe it. And now they resort to this both sides game where they bring up Melissa Hortman or Paul Pelosi, just absurd comparisons. And they say, it's time to tamp down the rhetoric. It's time to come together. How do you come together with someone who wants you dead? Yesterday, J.D. Vance, the sitting vice president, filled in, guest hosted the Charlie Kirk Show, which is now the #1 podcast in the world. And he did an amazing job. If you haven't seen it yet, I'd recommend it. This guy is so good, so smart. He is very passionate. He knew Charlie Kirk. He knew him well. They were good friends. Kirk was on board with Vance back before he became a senator. Kirk was one of the biggest proponents for Vance to be on the ticket with Trump. And Vance doesn't forget that. He obviously went out to Utah, spent time, consoled Erica Kirk, flew the casket back to Arizona on Air Force Two, which pissed off a lot of Democrats, a lot of liberals. I saw one liberal online say that would be like a vice president using Air Force Two to transport the body of Hassan Piker if he were murdered by a Republican. Really? You're going to compare Hassan Piker, this vile piece of garbage who says America deserved 9/11, to Charlie Kirk? Either you're just lying or you're stupid. Now, we don't have to we'll get Vance, because this was so good. Vance was so good. He knows he's not your typical politician, and he's pissed and he's grieving, and he knows he's number 2 on the death list. There's only a couple people that these crazy Democrats, these trans terrorists, these Antifa scum would like to see eliminated more than Charlie Kirk, and that would be J.D. Vance and Donald Trump. Well, J.D. Vance, again, filled in for Kirk, and he talked about this insane idea that we should unify. Unify? With who? The people we just saw online, the people we're still seeing online, dancing and singing and rejoicing because his friend was murdered? How do you unify with that? Here's Vance.
There is no unity with people who scream at children over their parents' politics. There is no unity with someone who lies about what Charlie Kirk said in order to excuse his murder. There is no unity with someone who harasses an innocent family the day after the father of that family lost a dear friend. There is no unity with the people who celebrate Charlie Kirk's assassination. And there is no unity with the people who fund these articles, who pay the salaries of these terrorist sympathizers, who argue that Charlie Kirk, a loving husband and father, deserved a shot to the neck because he spoke words with which they disagree. Did you know that the George Soros Open Society Foundation and the Ford Foundation, the groups who funded that disgusting article justifying Charlie's death, do you know they benefit from generous tax treatment? They are literally subsidized by you and me, the American taxpayer. And how do they reward us? By setting fire to the house built by the American family over 250 years. I am desperate for our country to be united in condemnation of the actions and the ideas that killed my friend. I want it so badly that I will tell you a difficult truth. We can only have it with people who acknowledge that political violence is unacceptable, and when we work to dismantle the institutions that promote violence and terrorism in our own country.
That is perfect. That's how it's done. That is the way right there. I also want to show you how it's not done. Get me James Lankford. Get me James Lankford, this congressman, from Oklahoma. He's the worst. Jesse Kelly dubbed him the naked Ken doll, which is what he is. He's a eunuch. He's pathetic. This is the guy that pushed the Biden immigration bill, to let in 5,000 illegals a day and give them all lawyers and translators. He's a fool. I'm not sure he's smart enough to know how pathetic he is. But he went on Sunday, with Dana Bash on CNN and started talking about, both sides are responsible and we must bring down the rhetoric and all the same nonsense. Vance showed us how it's done. Vance showed us how you respond to this. You say, I'm not unifying with people who want me dead. Lankford goes on and talks about Timothy McVeigh, which was 30 years ago. Listen to this absolute spineless squish.
Well, I would say if there's someone preparing to be able to take out an aggressive act against someone or to be able to violate the law, that is the role of law enforcement, to be able to protect Americans. We need to be careful in how we talk about this, whether it is talking about white nationalists and preparing to be able to attack and to be able to carry an attack, or it is somebody like a Timothy McVeigh that hated the government intensely and in my state 30 years ago, murdered 168 people in Oklahoma City, or whether it is a leftist group that is interested in actually attacking a pro-life center that we saw several years ago, or whether it's carrying out some other act of terrorism or trying to be able to intimidate people. We should have equal application of the law to saying if you're choosing to be able to carry out an aggressive, violent act, that should be something that we actually try to interdict anytime that we possibly can. Again, thinking something, talking about something is very different than carrying out that action. We have freedom of speech, but you do not have the freedom to be able to plan, prepare, and carry out an attack against another American, no matter what their ideology.
Oh, shut up. I'm done with these kind of people talking about white nationalists. White nationalists. All right, James, give me three. Name three. Tell me the last terror attack by white nationalists. Tell me what they did that compares to what Antifa has done for the last 5 years, or what these trans terrorists have done, shooting up churches and schools and killing Charlie Kirk. And you're bringing up Timothy McVeigh from 30 years ago. We're talking about now, the political climate now, the violence we're seeing from the left now. And you have a Republican senator going on CNN and saying, we must make sure that white nationalists and both sides, just pathetic. That guy is pathetic in Oklahoma. God, what a disgrace. All right, we'll give James Lankford a little reminder of the things his colleagues say. This is 2 minutes of Democrats calling for violence, calling for the kind of violence, yes, we saw at Utah Valley just 6 days ago. That they're the ones who called Trump a Nazi. They're the ones who call conservatives fascists. And what do you know? What do you know? Tyler Robinson and his circle of friends echoed those sentiments. Tyler Robinson was raised in a Christian household, 2 parents, apparently very stable, at good grades, got a college scholarship. Then he went online. Then he went to college and got radicalized. People hear what leaders say. They hear what media people and Democrat leaders say. They hear the words Nazi. They hear them say that Republicans want to eradicate trans people, and they respond with violence. And we have to hold these people accountable. We have to remember the kind of things our elected leaders said that led us to this point. Here's just a quick montage of the words you heard from Democrat leaders who are now saying, we should unify. We should condemn all violence. Well, that's not what they were doing in the last couple of years. Check it out.
I just don't even know why there aren't uprisings all over the country, and maybe there will be.
People need to start taking to the streets. This is a dictator.
You know, there needs to be unrest in the streets for as long as there's unrest in our lives.
Enemies of the state.
Show me where it says that protests are supposed to be polite and peaceful.
Do something about your dad's immigration practices, you feckless.
When they go low, we kick.
How do you resist the temptation to run up and wring her neck?
The biggest terror threat in this country is white men, most of them radicalized right to the right.
I thought he should have punched him in the face. I said, even if you lost, he insulted your wife.
Yes.
He came down the escalator and called Mexicans rapists and murderers. He said, well, what do you think I should have done? I said, I think you should have punched him in the face and then gotten out of the race. You would have been a hero.
I'd like to punch him in the face. I said if we were in high school, I'd take him behind the gym and beat the hell out of him.
Punch some people in the face!
When was the last time an actor assassinated a president?
They're still going to have to go out and put a bullet in Donald Trump, and that's a fact.
Look, as his character is stabbed to death.
Where is John Wilkes Booth when you need him?
This way. That's it right there. Pull it up.
I have thought an awful lot about blowing up the White House.
A Missouri state senator is under investigation by the Secret Service after saying she hopes President Trump is assassinated.
I will go and take Trump out tonight.
And if you see anybody from that cabinet in a restaurant, in a department store, at a gasoline station, you get out and you create a crowd. And you push back on them. And you tell them they're not welcome anymore, anywhere.
and sadly, the domestic enemies to our voting system and our honoring our Constitution are right at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue.
They're not going to stop before Election Day in November, and they're not going to stop after Election Day. And that should be, everyone should take note of that on both levels, that this isn't, they're not going to let up, and they should not.
They should not. They should not. That last one always gets me. That is the Democrat nominee for president. That was a vice president. And she was calling for rioters, for violent anarchists to not stop, saying they shouldn't stop in 2020, saying they shouldn't stop looting, burning, killing, assaulting cops. And their nominee said they should not stop. That gets me every time. But all right, before we get to Pam Bondi, we're going to both sides it from this. We're going to criticize our side. I'm going to get to Pam Bondi, but I want to play this two more things. Bill Maher, I swear to God, some weeks I hate him and I can't stand him. Other weeks I say, why can't Democrats be like Bill Maher? He's never going to be a Trump supporter. He's never going to vote for J.D. Vance. But he sees what's happening, and he doesn't have that the blinders on, and he doesn't go both sides. He doesn't mention Melissa Hortman. He says one side he's willing to talk. He had Charlie Kirk on his show, and he said he liked him, and they had a very cordial, amicable discussion. It was good. I watched it. He tried to get him drunk. Charlie just said, I don't drink. Go nuts, but I'm not going to drink. They're very, very different people. One's a devout Christian. One's an atheist. One's a conservative. One's a crazy liberal. But he could talk. And he said that's what liberals used to do. We used to talk. Now we scream. We celebrate death. And we encourage violence. We tell rioters that they should not stop. Here's the voice of reason with a big drink in his hand, Bill Maher.
They're the people who don't want to talk. It's my main issue with them. And Charlie Kirk was a guy who, he was always talking. And I talked to him here. The right wingers say what you want about them, but they talk to you. They're not into this leftist think. The left really has much more of I don't talk to you. I don't want to deal with you. You're deplorable. I can't break bread with you. That attitude, and all the right wingers, they don't have that attitude. Now, again, I didn't vote for them. And Charlie Kirk and I certainly don't agree on much politically, but he sat here. He's a human being. He's not a monster.
And a husband and a father.
Yes. And I liked him. I liked them all. They're all nice people when you meet them in person. And they're not as crazy as they would. Nobody's as crazy as they make them out to be.
Is that so hard? I mean, again, Tyler Robinson could have stood 10 feet in front of Charlie Kirk and said, what's your problem with trans people? I got a boyfriend who's transitioning. Do you want to eliminate him? But he couldn't do it. He took up a gun and killed him. Before we move on, let's do Benny Ray Harmony. This is incredible. Benny Ray Harmony was a news anchor in Springfield, Illinois. She used to be part of Turning Point. She adored Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk, her friend, was murdered on camera. And at the end of her show, her broadcast, she paid tribute to her friend Charlie Kirk. She tried to keep it together. She got a little emotional. It was an amazing moment. They suspended her. Her TV station suspended her for paying tribute to her friend, and then she quit. It was just really, really well done. Here she is.
Much for tuning into Marketplace today. So I want to talk about something for a minute, and it is heavy, so please bear with me. I want you to know that it's okay if you feel sadness. It's okay if you're grieving. 2 days ago, I lost a mentor, my first boss, the first person who made me believe in myself, that encouraged me to chase this dream that you're watching right now. Charlie Kirk. There's a lot going on in our world right now, in our country, but I want to say one thing. Lean on your neighbors. Speak up for what you believe in. I don't care what it is. I want to share with you one of my favorite sayings that Charlie would always tell us at the office. He would yell it from the mountaintops, so please listen. When conversations stop happening, when individuals become wordless, that's when violence begins. So if you do one thing today, make it be with passion, with conviction. Stand up for your friends, stand up for your beliefs, and speak loudly, even if your voice shakes. Your words have meaning, your values have purpose. Never forget that. Thank you, CK. You changed my life.
That's it. That's her tribute to her friend and mentor. And the TV station suspended her and she quit. She stood by her principles and quit. Good for Benny Ray Harmony. I'm sure there are good things ahead. Before we get to Pam Bondi, I got to do this because we talked yesterday about all the people losing their jobs. Again, losing their jobs for lying about Charlie Kirk. Top of the list, Pulitzer Prize winner Karen Attiah, or Attiah, I don't even know her saying name, but she was a columnist at the Washington Post for 11 years and a darling of the left, a woke woman who was, with most of them, very predictable, just a hard left liberal who hated Charlie Kirk. That's okay. You can hate Charlie Kirk. You can disagree with him. You can't lie about him. She posted this. She posted it as a quote, literally quote, "Black women do not have the brain processing power to be taken seriously. You have to go steal a white person's slut." She attributes that to Charlie Kirk. He never said that. He never said that. She made it up. She posted it, and the Washington Post, of all places, fired her. And the union went nuts, and lots of liberals went nuts. Oh, it's cancel culture. Again, it's consequence culture. There is a consequence for lying, representing the newspaper and lying about someone you disagree with. And she is kicking and screaming and saying how unfair this is. No, you lied about someone to all your followers and you paid a price. Times have changed. Again, 5 years ago, 4 years, you probably could have done that. The Washington Post probably would have stood by her, but they can't. They don't anymore. This is a good thing. What we're seeing right now is a good thing. People who are lying, people who are celebrating death are losing their jobs. They're not being arrested, by the way. You can't say it's a First Amendment issue. The government is not cracking down on you for that. Your employer is. That's how it works. You can be canceled. You can be fired. You can face the consequences for your speech. You can't be arrested, although our attorney general might disagree. This was just embarrassing. Let's get to Pam Bondi. Pam Bondi is the Attorney General of the United States. I'm not sure she's qualified, I have to admit. Pam Bondi is in charge of prosecuting people. And she thinks that you can be prosecuted for hate speech, which is a ridiculous term anyway, just a made-up term, hate speech. If this were from someone at the Washington Post or Karen Attiah, if this was from, Morning Joe or some idiot in the media, that'd be one thing. This is from the Attorney General of the United States. She's doing damage control now, but this is what she said. Yeah, Charlie Kirk, he knew. Charlie Kirk, this is a tweet from Charlie Kirk from a year ago. Hate speech does not exist legally in America. There's ugly speech, there's gross speech, evil speech, and all of it is protected by the First Amendment. Keep America free. That, again, is wisdom from Charlie Kirk. Now let's get to the Attorney General of the United States, who I understand. Emotions are running hot. People want justice for Charlie. But the Attorney General is saying we're going to go after people for hate speech? This is insane. Listen to this.
There's free speech and then there's hate speech. And there is no place, especially now, especially after what happened to Charlie in our society.
Do you see
more law enforcement going after these groups who are using hate speech and putting cuffs on people, so we show them that some action is better than no action.
We will absolutely target you, go after you if you are targeting anyone with hate speech, anything. And that's across the aisle.
She's got to be kidding. Hate speech is protected speech. That's been established. You can speak. You can say hateful things. You can't incite a riot. You can't threaten to kill someone. You can't cover up a murder, which is what I think Tyler Robinson's little Discord group did. We'll see. But the Attorney General says we're going to target people for hate speech? Really? She's done some damage control in the last 12 hours, but is that really what she thinks? That is a scary comment, a scary statement from the Attorney General. She actually said that the government may go after people who refuse to make posters for Charlie Kirk, which happened at Office Depot. Someone wouldn't make a poster for a vigil. Now, that is disgusting. And if people want to boycott Office Depot, if people want to send emails and post about Office Depot and their disgusting employee, that's fine. I believe Office Depot did fire someone for doing this. Well, that's the market working. That's the free market working its way here. There is a price to pay, but the government shouldn't arrest you. The guy refusing to make the poster, he's not unlike the guy in Colorado, the baker who refused to bake a cake for a wedding, a gay wedding. I don't think he should have been arrested if he was prosecuted. We're not like them. We don't do this. Here she is saying they're going to go after people who won't make posters of Charlie Kirk.
That's horrific. It's free speech, but you shouldn't be employed anywhere if you're going to say that. And employers, you have an obligation to get rid of people. You need to look at people who are saying horrible things, and they shouldn't be working with you. Businesses cannot discriminate. If you want to go in and print posters with Charlie's pictures on them for a vigil, you have to let them do that. We can prosecute you for that. I have Harmeet Dillon right now in our civil rights unit looking at that immediately, that Office Depot had done that. We're looking at that. But Sean,
this is going to go the same way that the UK is going.
Right. You could do that in the UK. You could do it in Canada. You could do it in France. You can't do it in the United States. Again, you want to call them out? Good. We should. We have. People have posted about whatever, Office Depot or anyone else. We've seen, all the videos. And you want to get them fired? Good. Go for it. Try to. Reach out to the company. But the Attorney General, if this were some local DA, it'd be a little scary. This is the Attorney General saying the federal government is going to go after someone who won't make a poster, some hateful, crazy liberal working at Office Depot. They're going to go in and arrest them? No, you're not, Pam Bondi. You're not. Someone's going to explain the Constitution to you. There are consequences to your words. But it's not up to the federal government to arrest you for saying, I don't want to make a poster. Get them fired. Get them, call them out. Name them. Name names. Shame them. But you can't arrest them. That is just incredible. She's not the best pick Trump made for his cabinet. He was asked about that this morning, and he said, she's doing a great job. Everyone agrees she's doing a great job. I don't agree, at least not today. She's getting a lot of heat. I mean, every single conservative I've seen online today is calling her out. Everyone. There's not one saying, good, let's arrest people for hate speech. How about this? How about we get rid of the whole term hate speech? Why do you think we have a First Amendment? You think it's to protect loving speech? You think it's to protect virtuous speech? It's to protect hate speech. It's to protect people from saying things you don't like, hateful things. That's why we have a First Amendment. You can do that in this country. Pam Bondi, Attorney General. All right, before we go, I have to get to this. I have to congratulate the husband of my crazy Congresswoman, Ayanna Pressley. This is just amazing. This guy is amazing. Sometimes you just have to give a guy a credit for being a go-getter, for being an achiever and getting things done. Conan Harris. You ever heard of Conan Harris? He is married to Ayanna Pressley, a sitting member of Congress. He's also a convicted drug trafficker, did 10 years for dealing drugs. This is from Mass Daily News. When City Hall picks winners, insiders win big. The Boston Planning and Development Agency has handed Congresswoman Ayanna Pressley's husband a multi-million-dollar luxury mega project, flipping parking lots into a private payday. Developer documents list Harris as a partner and investor in Dream Development, the firm selected by the city to co-develop 400-unit project called Related Beale. This is a multi-million-dollar project awarded to the husband of Ayanna Pressley, a convicted drug trafficker. As someone pointed out to me, in the old days, politicians took money under the table, literally, or stuffed it in their bra, as one Massachusetts Democrat is famous for on video, stuffing money in her bra and got arrested. In the old days, you took cash in the ladies' room. That was last year when a Boston city councilor took cash from in the bathroom in City Hall. Now they just do it out in the open. We'll give a multi-million-dollar contract to the husband of a sitting congresswoman, a guy who has no experience in development, who's not qualified for this, and is going to make millions. They're not even pretending anymore. And Ayanna Pressley could do this because she knows she'll get reelected. She knows the idiots in her district will send her back to D.C. no matter what she does. So I guess I should give them credit for not even pretending this is on the level. They're just stealing right in front of it, plain sight. This is just incredible. But good for you, Conan Harris. You've come a long way from dealing drugs and doing time to getting rich, building affordable housing on empty parking lots in the city of Boston. Nice job. All right, that will do it for today. Time to watch this whole crazy day unfold. Looking forward to seeing Luigi Mangione in court, Tyler Robinson in court, and Kash Patel going toe-to-toe with Senate Democrats. And Trump, by the way, on his way to the UK. Don't say anything hateful while you're there, Donald. They might arrest you. Don't post anything on True Social that they might find offensive. They could take you away in handcuffs. Man, what a crazy time. But that'll do it for today. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I'm Gerry Callahan. This is The Callahan Show, and we will do it again tomorrow.
I didn't say it's on one side, but I say the radical left causes tremendous violence, and they seem to do it in a bigger way. But the radical left really is caused a lot of problems for this country. I really think they hate our country.